Okay, today I'm working on my Supersonic, which is basically just a bassman. Um, it's like a 60-watt bassman with a dirty channel. Anyways, I picked this thing up for hella cheap last year. I think it needs, it either needs a new pilot light, which would be the cheapest thing, or it needs a recap in the power section. I'm gonna go ahead and guess this thing might need a recap. I'm gonna pull this thing just for the hell of it because I don't have any other jobs at the moment, and I gig with this amp, so let's get to it. Okay, here's a little action shot for you guys. I'm biasing this tube amp. I checked voltages on all this stuff, and I said, well, while I'm in here, we'll mess with the bias pot. I think this is biased pretty cool, and I rarely run it very loud, so I'm gonna turn the bias up. So I've hooked a 1 ohm, or my leads between this 1 ohm resistor up here, and I'm going to look at my meter. Right now we're at 29 millivolts. That means that we need to be somewhere near about 35 to 40. So this is the bias pot. And by the way, don't do this if you don't know what you're doing. This is dangerous, but here we go. I'm gonna turn this up and I'm gonna look. And it looks like we're turned up all the way. Okay. Yeah. We are all the way turned up. Okay, so that brings me to another problem. I have to change the bias resistor. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna do this and then I'll come back. Okay, so I have clipped in a resistor in parallel with this one up here. So I'm going to be decreasing the resistance. Yes. So when I measure this, it should measure less resistance than it was, which it was about 50K. So let's try that. Yes, that is correct. Okay, here comes the part not particularly stoked about, but I'm gonna have to solder this in now. Well, there it is, R155 right there. By the way, I've drained these caps, so that's why I'm sticking my finger in there. So I soldered a 36K resistor from. I was gonna try to tack one on in parallel. It just didn't work out. It was too difficult. It was easier to just start over. So I'm gonna plug this thing into the current limiter, turn it up on the Variac, and see what our bias voltage is. It should be fine. Okay, we got the amp plugged into the current limiter plugged into the Variac. We're up to 93 volts, and I don't see any problems. So I'm gonna continue to power up. Everything's looking normal. Don't see anything strange. Okay, we're at 111 volts, 113, 114. All right, let's leave it there. Okay, plate current's at 20 milliamps because I have this pot turned down. So I'm going to turn up. Well, that didn't work. Might be getting strange readings because I'm plugged into the current limiter. Let's try that. Yes, I was correct. Because I was plugged into the current limiter, the plate voltage was a little weird. We're shooting for somewhere around 38 or 39 milliamps. We're already up to 34 and the pot is turned down. So I'm gonna increase this. Well, let's let it chill for a second. 35. I'm gonna increase this just a tiny bit. Okay, we're now at 37, 36. 38. I'm gonna leave it there. Everything's looking pretty much normal. So that's a success in my book. All right, first rebiasing of an amp. And it seems as if everything is come together just right. Today's been full of lots of fun adventures. So if you're wondering what this guitar string is doing in that jack, the RCA jack broke off inside that little hookup. So I've heated a metal piece of guitar string and stuck it into the plastic, which, to show you, this is plastic in the middle of this thing. I pulled this one out. This one's still stuck. They both broke off hilariously. All right, so now it's been cooling for a minute and it should come out of there. I'm gonna put my phone down. The jack got stuck in here. So first I tried to melt the inside. There's a plastic inside part. I heated up a string, a guitar string, stuck it in there, let it cool, and then tried to pull it out. That didn't work. Then I tried every which way of melting it and getting it to come out. Then I applied, it was stuck to the plastic part was stuck to the string. So I stuck it in and I put super glue on it and I stuck it in and tried to rip it out then. Nothing. So then I tried to drill it out with a small drill bit. Nothing. And anyways, I finally got so mad after I couldn't find the part on the internet that I got an 1/8 inch drill bit and I just drilled it out and it came out miraculously. I have no idea how. So I'm waiting on some RCA jacks. Hopefully I didn't damage the jack. By the way, this is my amplifier, just in case you were wondering. Hopefully I didn't damage the jack too much, but yeah, man, I'm not really into these modern Fender amps. I gotta be honest. This thing sounds really good, but like you can see, this is overheated at some point. So I don't know what to do about that. I guess I'm just gonna leave it, to be completely honest with you. Again, like I said, this is my amp, and sometimes when you go digging stuff up, you ask for problems. So whatever, I got the bias right on this thing. I got this resistor in, and now I have drilled out the RCA jack. So I'm gonna put this back in and just go about my business, because that was a nightmare. All right, see ya. See, man, this is what I'm saying. I bought this amp before I knew any better. This is why, like, I'm just not into this modern crap anymore. Like, I tried to get this spade connector off. It's broken. And it's melted to the board. After seeing this yesterday, my mind just couldn't let it go. So I gotta figure out how to get this off. All right. There it is. Melted to fucking back. I gotta figure out how to clean that off the board without damaging it. And I'm gonna go ahead and replace both these spade connectors. Shit, I got half of mine to just solder it in to the tab, but I guess for now a spade connector will do. It looks like this one got hot, but again, I don't know. Let's just see what we can do about it. Okay, so now you can see I've put a new spade connector on, cut this wire back a little bit. I'm gonna do the same on this one. Okay, there we are. Some brand new spade connectors. I'm gonna have to retie this stuff together. I mean, because they had it zip tied. I think that's wise. So I'll do that, and then I'm gonna button this thing up. And I think this was a really good move because that was very burned, and who knows what that was doing to the connectivity. I was getting strange readings on the pilot light. And this goes to the pilot light, and it goes from the pilot light on a normal amp over to the heaters on the tubes. So that's what warms the tubes up. That's the filament winding, 6.3 volt filament winding. I'm new to tube amp repairs, so I'm learning. Okay, so yeah, I think we're done here. I cleaned everything up as best as I could. All right, so I'm pretty excited about this. Hope everything went together right. I got everything back in. I got the cables managed with these zip ties, and I checked continuity to the pilot light. It's looking good. Everything I'm gonna do while I'm in here is I'm gonna check the bias one more time on the output tubes and just see what happens. See if the heater being fixed changed anything. All right. Okay, so I think the problem is solved. I ordered an extra output tube. I guess it won't hurt to have one around, but the truth is these are now biased correctly. This one's running at 37 milliamps, and the other one is running at about 45. It's not closely matched, but it's much closer than it was. I was at 25 and 40 yesterday. So this was the culprit. So I learned something here, and all the other voltages are now looking good. So I think I'm gonna button this up and call it a day. The amp's drawing more wattage now, but it seems more healthy for an amp this size. So yes, I'm gonna call this a great success. All right, thanks for watching. Okay, here it is, my newly revived Supersonic. I went from kind of not liking this amp to absolutely loving it. That just goes to show the importance of proper amp repair and maintenance. So to take you through how I diagnosed this problem quickly, the pilot light had grown dim, and it would almost turn off at points. And I know from building the Tweed Deluxe that the filament winding coming out of the power transformer goes to the pilot light first, and then goes from the pilot light and to your tubes. And that's what heats your tubes so that electrons can pass through the valves, okay? Why is this important? Because if the tubes aren't getting enough heat, they're not passing electricity properly. And I actually bought an output tube because one of them was biased so cool and the other one was biased hot. So what had happened was the filament winding had burned to the PCB board and was not properly passing electricity. So now this thing is biased correctly and it's getting the proper voltages. And I think this thing will run well. So blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to show you a little sound demo, and we'll play a little blues here, all right?